Hello, welcome back. I'm Dolores, and today it's tips, tools, and techniques. Today's subject is a set of wool combs for $12 for the set. Unbelievable. So we'll test these out. I'll let you know how they do. I just want to let you know that every week I put out 2 videos, one on Tuesday, one on Saturday. Tuesday's tips, tools, and techniques, in which I will talk about several different subjects like weaving, spinning, dyeing, or fiber preparation. On Saturdays, it's going to be a little more about projects and a little more in depth about those subjects. So today are wool combs, a set of wool combs for only $12. When you first start any hobby, it takes quite a while to get all the tools that you need to do it, and it can be quite expensive. So to be able to get a set of wool combs for only $12 is fantastic. Now, I've been doing this for several years, so I have a lot of the equipment that I need. I have a regular set of traditional wool combs. The teeth on this comb are a little bit too wide to process some of the finer fleece that I'm doing, such as merino. So when I saw these combs available, I thought I would give them a try. The teeth are spaced much closer together than my other combs, and I'll show you a measurement between the two. This is my hand comb, and I wanted to show you how far apart the teeth are. It was easier to use the centimeters. They're approximately 1 centimeter apart. It's a 2-pitch comb, so they're offset a little bit. By 2-pitch, I mean there's 2 rows of teeth, and they're offset so that they're a little finer than actually 1 centimeter when you're using it. This set of combs, the teeth, are about half a centimeter apart, so it's half the distance of the teeth on the other comb. To comb a fiber, you want to take your locks and put them on the combs, and you do what's called lashing on. I usually take the end that's been up against the sheep and put that end on the comb with the tips out. You would want to fill this comb at least midway up with the locks. And then, of course, you would put a lot more on than that. But then you take your comb and you want to catch just the tips of the wool and transfer it from one comb to the other. The teeth on these combs are very sharp, so you want to be sure not to catch yourself with it. And you're just transferring that lock from one comb to the other. From my stationary comb on my left hand to the one that I'm moving on my right. As you transfer the wool from one comb to the other, it's straightening the locks out and combing them so they're nice and fluffy. When you get towards the end and you cannot get any more of the wool off of your comb, that's considered a waste, although I throw it in a pile and I'm going to end up using this for something else. And then we transfer and we want to go back again through the locks, pulling them from my left hand to my right hand. It depends on your fiber how many times you need to transfer it back and forth. This is a merino Wensleydale cross, and it is a fairly long lock for a merino. This is a process that does take time, so be patient with it. Sometimes when the wool isn't coming off, I will use my hand or my finger on it to just grab the tip and pull it through. It's still wool that I want to get transferred. It's not small segments, it's just caught in the other comb. So we'll work through this. The finer your fiber, the finer the comb should be. And you don't want to overload it. Now these combs are much smaller than a traditional wool comb, so it is taking a little bit longer than it would with my other combs. You can spin right off the combs if you want. Often I'll use what's called a diz to pull this fiber into a roving for spinning, but you can see how nicely combed these fibers now are. So I find that the merino was a little more difficult to do than my traditional combs. But remember, the combs that I'm using, the teeth are fairly wide spaced, and I might have to comb it through about 3 times to get the fiber prepped. So I also have here Lincoln long locks. The Lincoln locks are not as grabby, I'm going to say, as the merino is. So we'll just test this also on here. Again, I'm attaching the end that was closest to the sheep with the tip end out. I would fill this with more wool, probably twice the amount that I've got on it. But for demonstration, let's just start with a small amount. It's also helpful if you start with a small amount when you're first learning to use the combs. And in the same fashion, I just want to catch the very tips of this wool to pull it through. I usually work back and forth across the locks. In the first pass, some of these locks are coming off almost whole. That's okay. When we go through the second time, we'll be able to comb them out and get them processed a little bit better. Now I'm finding pulling the long locks through these combs much easier. It's not as grabby as the merino was. Now these combs, as I mentioned, are only $6 each or $12 for the set. I got them at Amazon, and what they actually are for removing the caps in a beehive. But I saw this on Facebook, and it looked like such a great idea that I wanted to try it out and let people know that this is available. If you're just starting, for $12 to learn how to comb wool, it's well worth it. And even if you have all the equipment, but maybe don't have small combs that are good for different types of fleece, you might want to get this as well. So it's not quite ready. We're going to comb it through a second time. But you can see how much easier it's going with the Lincoln locks than it was with the merino fiber. When you comb your wool like this, it's called top, T-O-P. And this is the preparation you would use to spin it in a worsted style. If you want something that's a woolen yarn, which is usually fluffier, then you would want to card it, and you can use hand cards or a drum carder. If your fleece has a lot of vegetable matter in it, you might want to comb it so you can get that vegetable matter to fall out. Either flicking or combing this way is the best way to get it out. You cannot remove the vegetable matter using a card, either hand cards or a drum carder. The vegetable matter just kind of get mashed into the fibers. So combing is a great way to get that vegetable matter out. As you process it, it just falls. So a little bit of waste here. And these fibers, I'm going to say, should go through the combs one more time. And then normally I like to diz it off of the combs to create a roving with it. And it makes it a little easier to spin. And we're done, except for pulling it off of the comb into and nice roving. So what do I think about these combs? What I like about the combs that I normally use is this holding piece to the table. It clamps to the whatever table you're using, and then you put, there's a hole here in the handle. Different manufacturers have different types of combs. Then it sits here. Now I don't have to use my left hand to do it when I'm combing. It's very easy, much less stress on my hands to comb it. Also, without having to concentrate on both combs moving, I don't hurt myself with it. So this setup is what I prefer to use. As someone just starting to prep fiber, these are a great option for $12. It will teach you the fundamentals of combing. It can be used for finer wools, but I find that the teeth are maybe a little bit too close to do many different types of fiber. And I don't like holding my combs in my hands. So you might be able to find a way to clamp one steady and then comb with the other. But for $12 for a pair, I would suggest trying it. It's a good place to start, a good place to learn from. I'll put a link below to Amazon is where I got these. And also your regular wool combs you can find at the Woolery. Thank you for watching, and the next video will be out Saturday. If you enjoyed this video, then make sure to subscribe to my channel. Don't forget, hit the bell so you'll get notified whenever a new video comes out. And if you liked it, give us a thumbs up. Until next time, bye.